Okay, let's talk business. What if one of the most powerful tools for boosting performance, retention, and well-being isn't some new software or a complex management theory, but something way more human? Today, we're going to explore how gratitude isn't just some soft skill. Nope, it's a hard-hitting business advantage.
Does this sound familiar? You know that sense of burnout just kind of creeping in? Engagement numbers looking a little sluggish? Maybe some friction between teams that you just can't seem to put your finger on? These are really common challenges, right? But what if the root cause isn't just a workload, but a deficit in recognition and real connection?
So here's the key. We have to reframe gratitude. It's not just about feeling thankful. It's an active, trainable skill. Seriously. When you practice it with discipline, it literally reprograms your brain chemistry. We're talking releases of dopamine and oxytocin. It strengthens the social fabric of your teams, and it has a direct, measurable impact on performance.
To make this all really tangible, we're going to walk through a simple but super powerful 4-pillar framework. Think of this as your roadmap, something that takes you from small, individual actions all the way to a full-blown cultural transformation. Okay, so our framework begins with you, the individual. It all starts inside our own heads, with what the source material calls positive chemistry. This is where we get into the actual cool neuroscience behind gratitude. The goal here is pretty straightforward. Consciously activate your brain's reward circuits. Simple, repeated gratitude practices can physically improve your ability to concentrate, stay motivated, and, this is a big one, bounce back from stress way more effectively. And listen, this isn't complicated stuff. We're talking about tiny 2 to 3 minute morning rituals to just set your intention for the day, or taking a real break after a tough meeting, or even just pausing for a second to acknowledge a small bit of progress you've made on a project. Super simple.
And the payoff? It's immediate and it's direct. Practicing this first pillar doesn't just make you feel good. It leads to better sleep, a measurable reduction in burnout, and a very real increase in your daily energy and creativity. Who doesn't want that? So if that's the impact on just one person, what happens when an entire team starts operating this way? Well, that brings us to pillar 2, creating what we'll call plus us, where that personal practice starts to strengthen the whole group.
This pillar is all about shifting the team's focus from me to we. Gratitude becomes the lever you pull to build genuine trust and create that psychologically safe environment where people feel like they can actually take risks and be vulnerable.
So how do you do it? Well, get specific with your recognition in meetings. Don't just say, good job, say why it was a good job. Encourage people to write actual thank you notes. And this is where habit comes in. Create a simple weekly ritual where the team shares and recognizes successes together.
The business impact here is huge. I mean, teams that feel seen and appreciated, they stick around, so retention goes up. They work better with other departments, so collaboration improves. And because that trust is higher, you just naturally see a reduction in those repetitive, draining conflicts. All right, now for a really critical step. How do we make this stuff stick? That brings us to pillar 3, which is all about plus discipline. Because let's be honest, an idea is just an idea until it becomes a habit. The goal here is to use routine and repetition. It's just like training a muscle at the gym, right? You need to train your gratitude muscle until it becomes an automatic operational habit for you and for your team. And a fantastic tool for this is the Professional Gratitude Journal. It's not about writing pages and pages of deep thoughts. It's about a focused practice. You're training your brain to scan for and acknowledge what's going right, instead of just defaulting to what the problems are. And the barrier to entry is incredibly low. We are talking about just 3 items a day. That's it. Think about it. 3 small successes or moments of gratitude. This isn't some huge time commitment, but it is a powerful investment in rewiring your perspective for a massive return.
When you build this discipline, you start making fewer reactive emotional decisions. Your brain is trained to see the bigger picture, which also gives you a much greater capacity to learn from your mistakes instead of just dwelling on them.
So this all leads us to the ultimate goal, pillar 4, or what's called plus being. This is where gratitude moves beyond just individual actions and becomes part of your organization's core identity. This final pillar is about making a really fundamental shift. From simply doing gratitude to being a grateful organization. It's no longer a checklist item. It's just who you are. It's baked into the very DNA of how your company operates. What does that look like? It looks like company values that explicitly mention recognition. It looks like an onboarding process where new hires learn these practices from day one. And maybe most importantly, it requires leadership that actively and visibly models this behavior every single day.
And the result? A culture that feels genuinely authentic. When people feel valued, they connect way more deeply to the company's mission. You get this powerful, shared sense of purpose and a real alignment between what the company says it values and what its people actually experience day to day.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly. When you integrate these practices systematically, gratitude isn't just a nice little sentiment. It becomes a strategic lever, something you can actually pull to tangibly improve well-being, performance, and your entire organizational culture.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Let's forget about the grand strategy for just a moment and think about today. What is the one specific, meaningful thank you that needs to be said on your team right now? Start there.